In 1919, Boston, USA, an Italian immigrant went from penniless nobody to the man who shook Wall Street, all in just 1 year. The scheme he devised was so simple, yet so effective, that even 100 years later, it continues to deceive people around the world. This scam was named after him, the Ponzi scheme. Now, let's uncover the real story of Charles Ponzi. Charles Ponzi was born in Emilia-Romagna, Italy. After finishing college, uncertain about his future, he followed his family's advice and sailed to America in 1903. But during the voyage, he gambled away nearly all his money, arriving in the U.S. with only $2.50 in his pocket. He spoke no English, had no money, and nothing but a dream of chasing the American dream. But reality hit hard. He struggled to survive, washing dishes and taking odd jobs at post offices. Life in America was far from the fantasy he had imagined. When things didn't work out, Ponzi moved to Montreal, Canada. There, he landed a job at the newly opened Zarosi Bank, a bank famous for offering unusually high interest rates to attract customers. But Ponzi soon learned the ugly truth. Those high interest payments weren't coming from investments, but from new depositors' money. It was a house of cards built on fresh cash from new customers. To make matters worse, the bank had made reckless real estate loans, and it ultimately collapsed. The bank's owner fled to Mexico, but was later caught for check fraud and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Ponzi witnessed all of this up close, and from that experience, he learned one simple truth. If you run away with the money before the scheme collapses, you win. That's when the idea for his own scam began to form. In 1919, back in the United States, Ponzi's attention shifted to international reply coupons. These coupons could be exchanged for postage stamps in any country that was part of the Universal Postal Union, making them an early form of cross-border money exchange. But back then, due to slow information flow and poor coordination, the price of IRCs varied wildly. For example, an IRC worth $1 in Rome could be redeemed for stamps worth $3.30 in Boston. Ponzi pitched this as a golden investment opportunity. Buy IRCs cheaply overseas, sell them for a profit in the U.S., and pocket the difference. He promised investors a guaranteed 50% profit in just 45 days. The offer was too good to resist. Investors lined up, and Ponzi paid early clients with the funds from new ones, building a reputation as a financial genius. His money machine grew like wildfire. By 1920, Charles Ponzi had become a local legend in Boston. People believed investing with Ponzi meant quick, easy riches. Even when most investors didn't collect their profits, they reinvested their money, hoping for even bigger returns. At the height of the frenzy, Ponzi was raising over $1 million per day. The public, the press, everyone believed in Ponzi's miracle. He bought mansions, luxury cars, and became a symbol of the American dream. But there was a catch. For Ponzi's investors to actually profit, he would have needed a ship the size of the Titanic, filled entirely with IRCs, traveling back and forth between Europe and the U.S. Of course, that was impossible. But thanks to continuous reinvestment, the scam stayed afloat. In reality, it was the classic robbing Peter to pay Paul scheme. No real profits, just recycled money from new investors paying off old ones. As suspicions grew, journalists and banks began digging deeper. In August 1920, the Boston Post finally exposed the truth. Ponzi was arrested for fraud. The total damage? Nearly $20 million, an astronomical sum for the time. Investors recovered less than 30 cents on the dollar, and several banks went bankrupt in the aftermath. Ponzi was sentenced to 14 years in prison. After serving time, he was deported back to Italy. There, he tried launching more scams, but his reputation as a con artist had preceded him. He lived the rest of his life in poverty, dying in obscurity. Today, his name lives on. The Ponzi scheme has become a global term, a timeless warning of financial deception. His story is a reminder. No matter how tempting the profits seem, greed can cloud even the sharpest minds. We always tell ourselves, this time, it's different. But the truth is, the nature of fraud never changes. Charles Ponzi's name still warns us today. Never stop questioning. Never stop learning from history.